Alright guys, so as usual, if you're a regular of the channel and you've been following me, you know that we like to do the PvP fights and the build breakdown videos separately. So if you want to see the fights with this luck/bleed build, please click the link in the description or click the more info button in the top right hand corner, or you can go back to the beginning of the video, click the link that was there, and I'll also link the PvP fight video at the end of the video. So let's actually get into breaking down my version of the bleed build. It's going to be a little unorthodox. It's not going to be focused so much on damage. I know if you watch a lot of my videos, a big theme of a lot of the builds that I make is dealing the most damage, right? You always want to try to edge out as much damage as you can. This build, not so much. When it comes to the bleed weapons, your main goal is to actually bleed the opponent, I think. When it comes to just using higher damage weapons or a different kind of playstyle, there are options available that you don't need to really kind of max out a lot of your stats with. So let's go ahead and get started as we usually do, breaking down the attributes. So to start off here, again, Soul Level 120, the Soul Level 120 series that we like to do. Our health is at 39, again with the Ring of Favor +2, Life Ring +3, we're at 1801. Our attunement left at the standard 6, what you start off with as, I believe we started off as a warrior, because that is the class that has the most starting luck with the least amount of intelligence, faith, and attunement combined. So again, trying to fish out any kind of advantage we can, or be as efficient we can in stat allocation. Combined, we gain an extra 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 levels, because normally the default stats are all at 10. So we start off at 6 attunement, which is an extra 4 levels to allocate somewhere else, 8 intelligence, 9 faith, an extra 3 points to allocate somewhere else, for a total of 7 free points essentially that we can kind of place where we need them. So with that said, our endurance at 37, and I know most people probably don't put their endurance that high for a build like this, but again, just my play style, the way I like to play, I like to rush enemies down, and if you watch the PvP video, you'll see that. If you watch any of my PvP videos, I like to always rush enemies down. I like to have enough stamina to kind of dodge, be agile, roll away. That's just my play style, personal preference, and I do sacrifice some things in the damage department for that. Also, my health is probably not as, my health is probably higher than what you would usually see on a build like this. Our vitality, again, just at the default 11 as well. Our strength, surprisingly enough, only at 29. Didn't really bother to kind of go the 40-40 with strength and dexterity like a lot of people do, and then 40 luck on top of that, because most people are trying to edge out as much damage as they can. But like I said, with this build, the weapons like the Anri Straight Sword, they do enough damage on their own. You don't really need to edge out an extra like 15 points of damage or whatever by maxing out strength and dexterity. If you ask me, that's just my personal opinion. The weapon does insane amounts of damage as it is, especially when you critical opponents, and we'll discuss that in just a bit. Our luck is actually at 40, and we gain 5 luck from each of these 2 hollow weapons at +10. So anytime you hold a hollow weapon that's at the max level, you will gain an extra 5 luck. So you notice if I go down to a weapon that isn't infused with hollow and isn't leveled up, my luck drops down to 45. But when I go back to the weapon that is, it bumps up to 50. So if I de-equip both these weapons, you can see my luck goes down to 40. So it's a nice extra way to gain a little bit of extra luck. And what's nice is the Mannequin Claws. I mean, you can also use the fist weapon if you wanted the lesser weight. But the Mannequin Claws is a good bleed weapon. You can combo people 4 times with it just like you can with the fist weapon, and it has a little bit more range. And you can use it in your offhand to parry. It also has the quick step ability, which makes this weapon actually quite good. I'm actually surprised in my PvP video I never ended up using it. I probably will make a second video with this class outlining some of the non-standard weapons, if you will. Because if you watch that PvP video, and this is kind of what I want to get into next, you notice that I have a lot of weapons here, but I really only use 3 weapons. I used the Hollow Warden Twin Blades, I used the Anri Straight Sword, and I used the Hollow Astora Greatsword. And in my opinion, while yes, you can use a lot of different weapons to bleed opponents, I didn't want to really showcase the Karthus sword because everyone knows how that plays. Same with the katana. I've already uploaded a video outlining how good that is. I tried using the scythe. I only used it for 2 matches. I lost both of them. I used the whip for 2 matches. I won 1 and I lost 1. With these dual wielding katanas, I think I lost 2 matches and I won 3. So these I didn't find all that consistent or all that good in comparison to these other weapons. I mean, straight swords are straight swords, so I wasn't going to bother using those either, since we were using the Henry straight sword anyways, and that is the most damaging of the straight swords that we have. But by far, the Warden Twin Blades, you know, when you infuse them with the bleed, they're going to do 42 plus 45, which is essentially, what is that? Just under 90 bleed damage, right? Because 45 and 45 was at 87, I don't know, something like that. 87 bleed damage per hit, I guess. And like some people have mentioned, when you two-hand this weapon and you do the R1 into L2, R2, you're pretty much going to instantly bleed somebody, most likely doing somewhere between 700 and maybe 1100, 1200-ish damage. It's a lot of damage, especially when you get that bleed in. It is a really cheap combo. You can also combo it with the L1, I believe. I didn't really try it, but yeah, it's really, really powerful stuff. And it's why this weapon is probably the staple or the main weapon to use for this build. Now, you do have to be careful because as it is a smaller weapon, it is easy to be parried. And if you watch that PvP video that I made, you'll see that I did actually parry quite a few people. I know I don't normally parry, and I kind of gave in. I'm really not proud of it, but when you're using smaller weapons, sometimes you have to do that, especially when you use weapons that can deal massive amounts of damage, like the Henry straight sword. So this is the next thing I wanted to discuss. As you can see here, we do 456 points of damage, and this can be buffed with a resin. So with like human pine resin or something like that, we gain I think 95 extra points of damage. So it bumps it up quite a bit. Let's take a look here. And again, in PvP, you'll probably only end up doing really like 20 to 30 points more of actual damage to your opponent, but that's still a significant amount. When you actually get a critical off, especially when you use the Hornet Ring in its place, if you guys watch that PvP video, you'll see that I was doing like 1,300 points of damage to somebody with one parry. It's absolutely insane amounts of damage. It's pretty much like a Black Knight Great Axe damage when you parry somebody with that. It's absolutely insane. So when you use this weapon, the Henry straight sword, I mean, yes, you have to be careful about being parried since it is a straight sword. It is fairly easy to see coming at you, especially when you spam it out. It's easy to parry. But if you actually get a parry off on somebody and you critical them with this sword, you can pretty much expect to take off, I don't know, like 80% of their health, something like that. So some significant amount. It's definitely extremely powerful stuff. Extremely powerful stuff. So just know that you can always fall back on this sword if you need kind of that cheap weapon to win with. And what's nice about it is it also weighs very little. So what I was doing, even though I didn't really utilize it all that much because I didn't want to kind of really use the cheapest tactics, I did use it for one match where a guy was healing. But you can actually have the Henry straight sword as a second hand slot here and use the Astora greatsword or any other weapon in your main slot. And again, it's always good to have these weapons that you can kind of finish off opponents with. The whip is also a good one because it's unparryable, and it has a really good special attack, just like that, that reaches really far. So you can always have these nice light weapons to kind of finish off opponents with if you use the heavier weapons like the Hollow Slayer, the Astora greatsword. I'm so used to seeing Hollow only on the Hollow Slayer, or the Glaive, or any other top weapon, so to speak, that you could use in PvP. So while the Hollow Infusion is actually very powerful because, again, if you guys don't know, it scales with luck. It gives you some extra, obviously some extra actual attributes towards your luck. It does have pretty decent scaling, and it does do significant damage. Plus, you can buff these weapons on top of that. So it's like infusing it with heavy, refined, or sharp. You can buff with resins and stuff any hollow-based weapons. Now, one other thing with the Henry straight sword, it does recover HP at, I believe it's 2 HP every like 2 seconds or something like that. Don't quote me on that. It's something like that. But you definitely recover HP with this sword in your hand. So, I mean, if you're technically fighting somebody, and I mean, if you guys watch my PvP videos, you know that I do this. I usually keep a blessed weapon or a blessed fist weapon in my offhand. And after I get hit the first time, I switch out my life ring for the Sun Princess ring. So let's just say we're going to put on the Sun Princess ring. You can see my HP is at 1637. And I'm going to actually equip all of my HP healing equipment. And I know some of you are going to say it's cheap, but it's not healing with an Estus. I want you to pay attention to how fast you recover HP when you use a setup like this. I'm essentially going up, I can't even count that, like 7 HP every second and a half, more or less. Look how fast you regain HP. It's absolutely insane. And I mean, it can definitely save your life in a lot of battles. There was a kind of a trolley fight I was playing where I was trying to finish somebody off with the Armor of Thorns by rolling into them. Again, you're going to have to check out the PvP video for that. But I got hit and I ended up winning the match with like 50 HP just because I kept trying to roll into the guy. And if I didn't have my HP recovering equipment on, I definitely wouldn't have survived. So in less than a minute, I've already gained pretty much 200 HP or like 150 HP, whatever it might be, in about a minute. So it is really, really powerful stuff to equip this kind of just as a passive ability. Any advantage you can get to kind of win out trades. Trading is still a huge thing in Dark Souls. I'm sure if you guys see my PvP, you notice that a lot of my final killing blows, a lot of the hits where I end up comboing people for 2 hits, a lot of that starts on a trade where the enemy hits me and I hit him, but somehow I still come out on top. So that kind of mentality can definitely help you come out on top in a lot of your PvP matches and win a lot of duels as well, come out with superior damage, right? So overall, that is the kind of way that I approach my luck build. Again, the damage that you get from the Anri straight sword is more than enough. You don't really need to edge out 40 dexterity, 40 strength, in my opinion. I mean, you could do that, but I think having the more health and the more stamina is more valuable, and it suits my playstyle better, I think. But again, it's up to you, personal preference. I just wanted to try something different than what everybody was doing before. The Historic Greatsword, same deal. It does enough damage as it is. 4 hits, someone's going to die anyways, especially when you buff it with the resin. And I want to do a weapon review of this sword as well, because it is actually one of the most versatile weapons. Being very low in the attribute requirements and very lightweight, you can pretty much incorporate this sword into virtually any build, which makes it amazing. Because Ultra Greatswords, if you've never seen my weapon series, I think that Ultra Greatswords are actually one of the most, if not the top tier weapons in the game. And again, I know I'll probably get a lot of hate for that, but I think I've shown with my matches, if you guys watch me live stream or you watch my videos, that these swords can be very effective, and having one at your disposal, no matter what kind of build you make, whether it's like a pyromancy build, magician build, where you're not really going so try hard on the strength and dexterity scaling, but you're actually going with like magic or faith or whatever it might be, you can still whip out these ultra great swords and do a ton of damage. So in any build, this sword is going to be really, really good no matter what. And the moveset is also very unique. But again, you have access to a lot of different weapons that you can use. Again, I have some of the really cheap stuff that I never ended up using in PvP just because I probably would have got a lot more hate than I did. But you can bust out things like the bleeding washing pole to just kind of do running, poking attacks at enemies. Really cheap stuff, but I mean, if you really want to cheese out wins, you can do that. Again, it's in the game. It's all fair game. Don't let people hate on you. But I would stay away from some of the more unorthodox weapons. I didn't really think that these dual katanas were that good. I didn't think that the scythe was that good, even though it deals a lot of bleed damage. The whip can be good, but it's just such a battle of attrition where you're just trying to poke away and it just takes way too long. It doesn't deal enough damage. And there's just more effective weapons to use, essentially, to bleed out opponents. And of course, you want to try to maximize your hits with, or not really maximize your hits, sorry. Maximize the bleed effectiveness, I should say, with the least amount of hits, because you don't want to end up trying to bleed somebody with like 5 or 6 hits, because that's going to give them a lot of time to parry you, right? So that's why things like the Hollow Warden Twin Blades can bleed somebody really quickly. It's very, very effective. Same like the Karthus Curved Sword with Hollow and infused with bleed. You can probably bleed somebody in like one combo when you combo into the weapon art, I think. So again, this has kind of the same OP kind of spinning attack, just like the Warden Twin Blades do, and you can combo into it from the R1, I believe, as well. So really, really strong stuff to test out if you haven't tried a luck build yet. Now, overall, the build, I don't think it's really that top tier, and I know I'm probably going to get a lot of hate for that. I made this build thanks to a recommendation from one of my close buddies, Matt XN. Shout outs to you, dude. I got some stuff coming for you, and you've really helped me out a lot, so I really appreciate that. Don't get me wrong, this build is still very, very good. I just don't think it's as top tier as some people make it look. I fought a lot of bleed builds myself with my quality build, and I honestly can't remember the last time I lost to one. I know I probably have at some point, but I mean, it's just, if they can't chase you down because every other build is so focused on damage. I see people eating this stuff all the time in streams and stuff when they're going up against bleed builds, and most likely when they hit you a few times with a bleed weapon, you take a little bit of damage. It's not really that much, but obviously the whole point is to bleed them, and if you give them the space, they're going to eat the blood red moss clump and completely eliminate all that hard work from you building up their bleed damage. So that's another reason why I keep my endurance high, because again, you want to rush down opponents, you want to keep them on the front foot, you don't want to give them time to eat any consumables, and if they are eating consumables or trying to heal or whatever it might be in a duel, you're going to be right there to punish them, combo them, and actually bleed them out really, really quickly, right? So keep that in mind when you're making your build, and let me know what you guys think. Armor and ring setup, it will depend. What's nice about these weapons that you use in a bleed build is most of them are very lightweight, so you can equip some heavier armor, equip multiple weapons for finishing people off or switching things out if something isn't working on the fly. It's very easy to do that, and it works out quite well, and you don't need a lot of vitality in order to work that kind of stat allocation or armor distribution to your advantage. Ring setup, pretty standard across the board. Life ring to start off, and then we switch over to the Sun Princess ring if we get hit. Stamina ring, again, just personal preference. I'm all about rushing down, try to keep people on the front foot. Ring of Favor +2. And for the last ring slot, I went with the Knight's ring. You could go with the Hunter's ring as well if you're going with a weapon that's more dexterity scaling. But just something to gain a little bit of extra damage. When we're using weapons where we're trying to parry, we can use the Hornet ring. And that's pretty much the only rings that I kind of switch out to in this setup. So that is the video, guys. Please let me know what you think. Again, I'm going to link the PvP fights in the end of the video, so check that out. And I will probably link a second PvP video once I try out some more weapons. Let me know what you think, though, guys. Give me some comments. Give me some feedback. Thank you for watching, though, and stay tuned for more Dark Souls 3 content. Subscribe and check out the other videos if you enjoyed this one. But thanks again, guys. Quantum is out.